Hey challengers, we're turning the halfway point, so I wanted to give you 5 practice tips to help you maximize the effect of your challenge. Number 1, we see many of you practicing in socks, which is fine, but in order to transfer these drills authentically to your Wesco swing, it's better to practice in your dance shoes now. Number 2, don't waste your time doing anything fast unless you can guarantee it's good quality. If your quality suffers when you speed up, slow down and gradually increase your speed while maintaining your quality. Number 3, remember the magnification principle? These drills are intended to exaggerate your ankle range of motion, so like 100%. So if you only do 80% of it when you're social dancing, it will look fine. But if you practice it only 80%, and then your real execution will only be at like 50%, which will not be fine. So embrace the exaggeration. Number 4, about pain. Some of you might be feeling a little bit sore in the calf muscles. This is normal and just means that those muscles need some conditioning. But if you're feeling pain under the ball of your foot, check to make sure that you're being gentle on your balls and not doing merengue, putting too much weight into your forefoot all at once. If you're feeling pain when you straighten your knees, you're pushing those knees too far. Now, number 5, for the rest of the challenge, we don't need you to see your feet up close. So we're ready to start angling the camera up a little bit so we can see more of your whole body if possible, okay? Hey, this would be a good time to follow us on Instagram at Miles and Tessa, or if you haven't already, join our actual Facebook page, Miles Monroe and Tessa Cunningham Monroe. So enjoy your day 4 video.
Hi everybody, welcome to day 4, the Year Zero challenge for today. This video is going to be short and sweet, but the drills are super fun. If you have a buddy in your self-quarantine area, feel free to use them, but they don't need to be a dancer. If you don't have somebody, don't worry about it. We explain how to do these things solo as well.
See, what we're focusing on today is adding external variables to improve your reaction time and your adaptability. So in order to do that, we have to make your movement cues unpredictable. So in order to start, we're going to do the first B drill version, which is going to involve your buddy cueing you when to change directions randomly. So Miles is going to be rolling around the room, doing his footwork technique, doing the B drill, and it's just going to be on single time. But when I call out the word change, he is going to reverse whatever direction he was already doing. So if he was going forwards, and I say change, he's going to go backwards, not sideways or anywhere else. If he was going sideways at the time that I called change, he would reverse directions by going the other direction. So he wouldn't get all creative and just change randomly in any direction he chose. He has to go reverse of what he was already doing when the caller said change. So let's actually demonstrate.
So again, I'm doing the regular B drill, so I can choose my direction change, but
I'm the one that decides when. Change. 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 Now, something to notice that Miles is doing very well is he's maintaining his pitch and posture the entire time. He's not, when he's surprised, he's not letting that affect his posture and having it jolt all through his body. Instead, he's engaging his core to make sure that everything stays in control. So when he does those direction changes, his entire torso moves as one unit without any extra flopping and noodling around like this, yes.
Or that surprise factor, like if I'm going forward and she says change, it shouldn't jolt you and try and make you freeze up. It's like, oh, okay.
Be cool about it. Now, something else that Miles was doing just there, if you go slow motion, Miles, he is reaching forward with that foot, letting it stay ahead of his head, so when he has to change direction, he can push on a diagonal forward to go backwards. Same thing with going sideways. We don't want to let your head weight or your whole center go over top of that foot because we're not trying to stay there or go further. Just like yesterday's video, we're trying to actually prevent ourselves from getting onto that full weight transfer, sticking with a partial weight transfer to make that direction change quicker. This is another one of my favorite drills. It's called red light, green light. And what that alludes to is the childhood game we probably all played in school where you all are racing around the playground and when the caller says green light, and then when the caller says red light, you have to freeze. And then if you get caught moving, then you get sent back to the starting line again. something like that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be the mover and Miles is going to be the caller, and Miles is going to call red light or green light for me. If he says red light, green light, I'm going to be rolling around the room using my nice technique, rolling through, randomizing my bead drill, my regular bead drill. And in order to add a variable of surprise to desensitize my panic, I'm going to try to roll to a controlled stop when he says red light. So if I'm rolling at normal pace and then
I say red light,
I'm going to continue rolling to a 100% weight balanced position as opposed to freezing and panicking and stopping split weight. Okay, so I'm going to be consistent rolling, Miles ahead. I panicked here, but I didn't panic in my legs.
Now, the only thing that the caller does need to be aware of with this one, so again, they don't need to be a dancer, but I want to make sure that I don't green light until after I've given her a chance to settle. So when I say red light, I just have to observe that I let their actual settle, and then I can go green light again. I don't want to go red light, green light before they have a chance. As the dancer, if your caller does do that, let yourself settle completely. So red light, green light. She's going to get herself settled before she continues to move through that. Again, the point is we don't want that panic clutching of your body to freeze.
So what we're going to do right now is Miles is going to do about 30 seconds of this drill to give you an audio track to practice with in case you don't have a caller of your own. So you can go ahead and practice with us right now.
So green light, red light, red light, red light, green 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 light. This time we're going to deal with an outside force rather than an outside verbal cue. So your buddy is actually literally going to push you. So I'm going to be doing my normal bead drill. I do get to choose some direction changes, just like in the first version, right? So I'm going to be doing my bead drill and I'm going to be rolling my feet. So in this case, I'm just doing single counts and I'm going in random directions, trying to go. And my buddy is going to just come in and throw some extra force at me. And what I want to try and do is collect and make sure that I'm calm from that push. So you see, I was halfway through that foot when Tessa pushed me, and I'm not going to try and fight her. And I don't want to sit here and, as she pushes me, have to stumble through it. I'm rolling. Oh, okay.
Try not to do any leaning or changing of your pitch and posture. And we're still going to use the 3 slowing down techniques to control our weight transfer that we did yesterday.
So when I feel those forces being pushed at me, a lot of time those are going to feel fast. So that's where we want to use, again, that delayed reaching foot to slow ourselves down through it. Or if she pushes me real quick, I can land on it and use the control of dragging my back foot and my lowering of my knee.
You have permission to increase the size of your step. There's not a minimum or a maximum step size. Trust your human instincts to tell you how large of a stride you need to take to keep yourself from falling over.
And the other one too is try not to go for rotations. So sometimes the pusher may just push on one side of you too much, just because in a pivot or anything, we're not truly rolling. So we just want to avoid that feeling. Obviously, don't kill yourself if it happens.
Okay, so here's an example of us doing exactly that. So Miles is going to run around, and I'm going to give him a couple of pushes. I'm trying to strategize where I'm going to push him. Don't want to push him too far off camera. Trying to surprise him. Notice that he is exceptionally stable as the athlete that he is, so he cannot be disturbed. So if you're truly by yourself and you do not have a buddy, here's how you can sort of simulate the shoving exercise, and that is by doing your bead drill and intentionally running into certain objects in your office or your home, and maybe bouncing off of the walls, literally, or off of tables, chairs, and parts of the furniture. So really bounce into them. I like to imagine that I'm figure skating and I don't know how to stop and I'm going to run into the boards. So I use compression in order to send myself back the other direction. But being able to do this while controlling your weight transfers is going to help you juggle the footwork rolling technique on top of being responsible with controlling another object or some other forces.
So you can also remember to, like, you could call your friend or video Skype a practice buddy, and then one person calls it and then does the drill and the other one does it. That'd also be a really great way if you don't physically have them with you. So hopefully we've had some fun with day 4's material and your buddy. The idea here is for our video submissions, make sure that you're doing one of the 3. We don't need all of them, we just need one of them. Get your points in there, keep track, because we have so many things going on for awards for this. This is gonna be great.
So the 3 things that you could possibly video, the first thing is your direction changes, so your reversals. The second thing that you could possibly put on video is your
red light, green light.
Red light, green light. And the third one is your creative shoving.
And so we're gonna sign off. If your buddy is with you, just remember, wash your hands in our current situation. And when you're all done, wrap it up with a big old high elbow.
Bye.
Green light, green light, and red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light. Change, 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 change the way you're facing. Change, change. Change. Change the way you're facing again. No, not that way. Face away from me. Change. Change. Change.
Okay, a little bit less like you're actually trying to hurt me, just trying to push me off a little bit.
I am.
All right, so here's 2 drills for strengthening your feet and your legs. And so the first one's a tendu and the other one's a plie exercise. In tendus, you're pushing your foot through the floor and then pointing to the end of your foot and then trying to use the resistance, try and get your foot down as quickly as possible and pull back with some resistance. While you're doing the drill, you should play with different speeds because the slower you go, the more resistance you can use on the floor, and then the faster you go, the lighter it is, but you never want to just hang and swing your leg freely. There's always some resistance against the floor. So play with it on your own with different speeds and paces. For a lot of you asking about the toe walking, if I only go to the ball and toe at the same time, it's a very short step. My leg can only go so far. But if I push all the way to the end of my toe before taking that step, I get a much longer stride without having to slide my foot through the floor. So we want to avoid those shufflings. This next exercise is really great for ankle and foot strength. It's a releve plie exercise. So I'm going to go up into releve, then plie into the legs, pushing the heels down into the floor, standing back up, and then reverse direction. So I'm going to plie into the leg, roll up into the toe, push up, and then come down. Try and avoid 2 different major mistakes, which is rolling out to the pinkies of the toes. Really try and keep your weight over the first 2 toes. And then also when you come down into the plie, try to make sure that you don't do both heel and knees at the same time. You want to go up, knees only, then heels back down, stand up, and then reversing again, knees, heels, toes, down.
Okay, check this out. This is a Bosu ball. It stands for both sides up. In other words, you could use it facing down or facing up. This one, I'm choosing face up because I want the surface that I'm standing on to be unstable on purpose. What this is doing is training my muscles in my foot and my leg to accommodate with subtle changes in my balance because of my body position. So what I might do for conditioning exercises is stand on one foot and try and balance without touching anything, but holding on to a bar just in case. What I'm going to ask you to do or aim for is pressing down into the ball without changing your height. So in order to do that, I bend my knee, and so my weight is on the ball of my foot, but then I'm not changing my height at all. As opposed to releve and coming back down, I'm going onto the ball of my foot, but my head height is not changing. So what that's going to do is simulate the foot rolling idea that we get in West Coast that makes it look so smooth and gliding, as opposed to practicing the calf raises that would be appropriate for jazz or ballet. So the way to do this at home is you could actually do this on a pillow. So the exact same idea, just make sure you're hanging on to something. I don't want to be the cause of more injury.